The Wally Show podcast is our daily radio show heard live through the WayFM app each morning and hosted by Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. For more fun, be sure to connect with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally. Makeup's done? Hair's did?
This is probably one of the most glamorous moments of my life.
Time for News-ish with Betty Rock on The Wally Show.
If you were to ask me who I thought was the worst driver when it comes to like generations,
Sure.
I would say the older generation, okay? But that's just me. But it's also coming from a recent situation that I had where this older person in front of me and a friend of mine could not make a decision on whether or not he wanted the right or the left lane, so he just decided to go through the middle.
Sure.
Makes
And
sense.
we passed by him, and of course you give him the dirty look like, who?
You gave an old man a dirty look?
Well, we didn't know it was an old man until we passed him. And then we see him, and we're like, but honestly, should he be out on the road if he's straddling
ageism.
the line?
Yeah, that is ageism. Man.
Okay, whatever.
Sometimes I get shocked at Betty Rock's take on
Okay,
things.
whatever.
I'm just out there on the freeway loving people.
No, you're
trying to bring them closer to
Okay.
Jesus.
Cancel culture, Betty.
I will tell you this
Okay.
about this, okay? The thing about comparing driving of different generations, I think the boomers should be off the table, or the generation before them.
So
just,
the older generation.
Just because as you get older, you just become a worse driver. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, one day.
Now that's ageism.
Well, yeah, but one day, hey, I don't think we should, be like held responsible for making statements just because the way a whole generation behaves. Okay, yeah, like that's fine.
So you can't say anything about Gen Z then.
Well, no, but one day they would be the worst drivers because of age. I think
sure.
everybody ages into being a bad driver. So let's take them off the list of the ones that should still be responsible. Who are the worst drivers?
Well, this article that I found, it claims that all of us are pretty much in denial. So whatever generation you are, you say, I'm a pretty good driver.
Sure.
But the one generation that's like pretty honest about it is the younger one, the Gen Zers. They're like, yeah, I'm a pretty bad driver. Like, they're not going to beat around the bush.
They're owning their mess.
They'll own it. And when you ask them, well, what makes you a bad driver? They have 4 things that ultimately it comes down to.
So
Out of
many.
these 4 things, how many do you think are going to rub me the wrong way?
1.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
Yeah, but I
ahead.
could be wrong.
Save that one for last then.
Okay. Eating.
Oh, yeah, we all
That's
eat
everyone.
in the car.
Yeah.
Everyone eats in the car.
Don't eat Taco Bell in the car. You're just
Yeah, I
asking
mean,
for
you
it.
got to be responsible about what you're eating. I mean, literally, tacos is the worst food to try and eat in
Yeah,
a car.
for sure.
Chips and dip, don't eat that.
Don't do it. Another reason for being a bad driver, they're tired. So they worked a long day. Okay.
I just put in 6 hours.
Okay, I didn't see that one turning around.
Yeah.
That one made you
Yeah.
mad. Arguments. They're having arguments in the car, and that's making them a bad driver.
No,
But
my parents love me less.
And then finally, I think this one would make you angry, is pets. They have
Yes.
pets on their lap.
Yes.
And that makes
That's a
them
bad
a
call.
bad driver.
It's my security pup for driving. It's my driving security dog. Then I have a walking into the building security animal. Then I have
my
an elevator
word.
security
Stop
animal.
it.
I have 75 security
Stop
animals.
it. So if you're on the road and there's a bad driver in front of you, look to see how old they are, and then look to see if there's a little puppy sitting on
Yeah.
their lap that might be distracting
All
them.
of that said, I am starting to realize that I am becoming more of a distracted driver. My head spaces out and
Starting
things. Yeah.
to become?
I'm starting to admit it.
Okay, there
Yeah.
we are.
Like, I'm
There
starting
we
to
are.
understand what you guys have been saying for the last year.
Behold God stuff.
Today's God stuff comes to us courtesy of my daughter and TikTok.
So what is TikTok and how do you use it?
So my daughter and I send funny things back and forth to each other that make us laugh on TikTok. And the other day she sent me one that she's like, watch this till the end. And I love this. She sent me this one of this guy who created something we both watched when she was little. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. And so this guy's walking down the street in L.A. TikToker walks up to him to interview him about his job on the spot. And what he dropped at the end, super surprised me.
How old were you when you made your first million?
I guess you could say I started prospering in my 30s.
And what do you do for a living out here in Los Angeles?
Well, did you ever see The Fairly Odd Parents?
Yes.
Did you ever see Danny Phantom?
Yes.
Okay, well, I created both those shows.
So cartoons made you a millionaire?
Yeah, they did, and it's not an easy thing to become a millionaire doing cartoons, let me tell you.
So what's the best advice you could give to any 20-year-old watching this right now?
If I had to talk to my 20-year-old self, I would say to them 100%, do not be afraid and seize every opportunity. And I always say to people, opportunities are like comets. They're very beautiful and amazing, but they don't come around very often. It might be a very long time till you see another one, so seize that opportunity. A lot of creatives aren't very good salespeople. So when you want to market yourself, you need someone that can help you sell. The Bible says there's safety in a multitude of counselors.
Do you believe in God?
Absolutely, 100%. I was in my mid-30s when I discovered who Jesus was. Once he became my Lord and Savior, I started answering to him and not Hollywood. Because Hollywood changes every day, but Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Boy, there's some gospel. Like, nailed it. I mean,
that
like,
was awesome.
That's why I love when we do God stuff. It's kind of God in the ethos and out in the world, in the wild, if you will, and outside of the Christian walls. But here's a guy that created some great cartoons that I loved watching. Fairly Odd Parents I thought was fantastic. And so, like, to hear him give a piece of advice to kids that's practical, but then totally align that with his faith and be unashamed and outspoken about it, that's awesome, man. And I love that. And that's why we do God stuff. Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show, and we're looking for those early adopters, those people that when the new iPhone comes out, you're like first in line, the people that are get it done kind of people. We have support drive coming up on Friday, and when you hear people doing challenges during a support drive, you're like, oh, where did that come from? And a lot of times it's one person or family that loves the ministry of Way FM getting involved and saying, hey, we want to help out, we want to inspire other people to give to what we give to. But what we're trying to do is for the first challenge of the event, have it all come from a bunch of people just like you that are listening right now. And so you playing a role in your Way FM. If you listen every day and you love what happens here, we're asking you to be a part of this challenge. And the best part is there's no criteria. You could get in here with your best single gift, whatever it looks like, and help put it into this pool, if you will, and we could have an amazing first challenge right out of the gate.
Yeah, if you didn't even realize that your Way FM is a community-supported station, that means you're able to find it, listen to it, enjoy it because of people who have given in the past. And so maybe you're one of those people that's, loves the pay it forward mentality, and you're like, I want to do that too because I've benefited from it, so I want to pay it forward. Your best single gift, whatever that looks like, it could be $50, it could be $100, you name it, whatever it is, whatever that number is God's put on your heart. When you text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 91979, we will send you a link, and there you can give your best single gift. That's GIVE to 91979.
And here's my challenge inside. The challenge is to do the first number that comes to your head, even if it sounds crazy, and not for your Way FM, but for you, okay? Like, so you might have heard this thing and like $1,000 popped into your head. And you're like, okay, let me shake that out because I'm sure I did not hear God right on that one. Because we had a lady one time during support drive where she gave once and we're like, thank you, you're amazing. She called back, she goes, I didn't do what God really told me to do, so here's another gift. And we're like, man, okay, awesome. That's between you and him, but thank you. Calls back a third time. Okay, now I've reached the number God told me to do, and I'm settled, And so if you want to be part of this, like Betty said, we're community supported. So it's kind of cool that the first challenge inside of the event comes from the community of people putting it up. So this could be a $20,000 event. That's our goal in this. But it could be, if enough people get inspired, you watch all these GoFundMes blow up and they're millions of dollars for somebody, This could be that same type thing. If enough people get involved right now, we could have a $50,000 kickoff or whatever it is, 75, I don't know. But just thank you for listening to Way FM, and thank you for hearing this and maybe choosing to get involved right now. Text the word GIVE to 91979. Your best single gift is going to count towards our People's Challenge. And on Friday morning, we'll kick it off and we'll let you know where we landed.
Whose dish is on the chopping block?
Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show, and this is where we need your help. We're going to do a little chopped here because sometimes I get a little verbose. I run off at the mouth, and we run out of time in the hour to play all the songs we had planned. So you're going to have to help us make this decision. One of two songs is going to be chopped. You need to tell us which of the two songs you want to see not chopped, the one you want to hear, okay? And so the choices are CeCe Winans, Believe for It.
That's a good one.
That's a great one.
Still powerful.
Love this song. I mean, that's a great song. I would hate to see this go. But then again, the other song up for being chopped is Jeremy Camp, Getting Started.
And honestly, the chokehold
Yes.
that Jeremy Camp has on middle-aged women
Yeah.
is unspoken.
Yeah, I don't even
but
know.
true.
But, I mean, that's another great song, like, you know, talking lyrically that connects with people.
Yeah.
And so you have to tell us which of these songs you don't want to see chopped and why. That's the important part, is the and why. How does that song connect with you? Why do you love it so much?
We wish Wally would learn his lesson on keeping things shorter and he wouldn't talk as much.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he's a motor mouth.
Yeah.
And he takes all the time away from all the great songs. And so now we're coming down to the end of the hour and one of these songs has to go.
It's just a byproduct of living in a fallen world, I say. So, 855-33-WAY-FM. The two songs on the chopping block, CeCe Winans, Believe for It, or Getting Started by Jeremy Camp. Which of these two songs do you not want to see chopped and why? You're going to make the call right now, 855-33-WAY-FM. Vanessa, thank you so much for joining us here for Chopped on the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM. Now, this is where we get down to the end of the hour. We have to make a decision. We've got to cut one of two songs. One has to be chopped. Your job is to tell us which of these two songs you do not want to see chopped. You've heard the hook for CeCe Winans, Believe for It, and for Jeremy Camp, Getting Started. So which of these two songs are you going to swoop in and save today, Vanessa?
Believe for It by CeCe Winans.
Oh, you cannot go wrong with this song. Okay, why are you saving CeCe?
CeCe is just amazing, and that song has ministered to me so much. There's been so many times in my life. We were believing for our second child. I had a miscarriage, and we were believing that God was going to give us another child, and that song came out, and we just believed and listened to that song and prayed and prayed and prayed, and it came through, and now we have two other children.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. I can see why you were connected to that song. For me, I too, with that many kids running around, I would believe for peace and believe for silence. I'd be like, I'm praying for this, Lord. I need some calmness now. I'm believing for it now. Yeah, I got what I asked for, admittedly, but now I need to believe for some peace.
Yes.
Well, Vanessa, thank you so much for helping us out. Sorry, Jeremy can't put you, sir.
You've been chopped.
We're going to go with CeCe Winans, Believe for It, because Vanessa has commanded it here on Chop. Thank you, girl.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
They say this mountain can't be moved. They say these chains will never break. But they don't know you like we do. There is power in your name.
Hey, Wally, do you have a minute?
Sorry, busy.
I have cake.
Oh, what do you need?
Yeah, see, that's a perfect example of even though we are busy, we make time for what's important.
Yeah, because going back to school as an adult, you're busy with work, you've got family, but if you want to make your education a priority, trust me, you can do it. Betty did.
Like when I first started, I was super intimidated because it had been a while since I've been in school. But I mean, from the very first conversation, I felt like they were setting me up for success.
Yeah, and going back to school with CCU's flexible online courses makes it so convenient.
Yeah, and what's so cool is every class has a biblical worldview perspective. And so you think, well, how can they turn math into a biblical worldview? They find a way.
Yeah, and that was one of my jobs when I was teaching at CCU, was integrating not just the facts and figures of things, but how your faith plays into what you're going to do.
CCU offers Christ-centered higher education, transforming students to impact the world with grace and truth.
Cultivate your mind without compromising your heart. Get started today at online.ccu.edu. Colorado Christian University is a non-profit impact partner.
We're not saying he's the best man for the job.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
But he's a man doing his best at the job.
And I never have.
It's News-ish with Wally on The Wally Show.
All right, here is the lowdown on some of the changes at Southwest, the fare changes that will take effect. They're going to start converting later this year, and by 2026, this will be the new world order of Southwest. So the new fares are branded Choice Extra. That sounds fun. Choice Preferred, not as fun. Choice, and
Just choice.
basic. We do not care about you at all. Those are the things. It's in parentheses. Basic. We hate you. So that's
really
what,
reading into it.
Yeah. I'd say the most expensive bundle is the Choice Extra. So you're going to get early boarding, 2 free checked bags, complimentary access to extra legroom, and booking and internet. Okay. So now I get that. You pay for more things. That's fine. The internet's the interesting thing to me because on Southwest, you have to use their system to have entertainment. And it's based in using their internet.
Okay.
And if they take that away, does that also mean that you lose your internet to watch movies and you'll have to pay to watch movies?
Pushing you into making you pay even more.
Exactly.
Wow, that was
Or
low blows.
will it mean you just can't use the internet to like send text messages? So I don't know on that yet. The next most expensive fare bundle will be Choice Plus, which will include access to preferred standard seats at booking, generally those closer to the front of the plane for getting off earlier, and you'll board in a earlier group because remember they're going to go with assigned seating as well. Both Choice Extra and Choice Plus fares are refundable. Like that's one thing that's makes Southwest great up until this point is that their fares were all refundable and you could do it real quickly, and they're changing that in some of the lower plans now. So the next year, let's get into where most of us are going to live.
Yes, please.
In the Choice, which is general boarding with a seat assignment towards the back of the plane, of course, and you'll be eligible for flight credit, not refund. Only valid for 1 year if you have to make your plans change.
Here's what I don't like. I feel like the airline industry is putting us in categories, okay?
Yes.
So you're going to know who are the people like, help me, I'm poor.
Yeah.
And the people that are rich and snooty and looking down on us. I don't like that. Put us all on an even keel.
It used to just be first class that you knew was looking down on you, and now it's just from the front of the plane back. So the least expensive ticket bundle will be basic, which includes a seat. So there you
Yay.
go. Congratulations, you do get a seat. Seat assignment given at check-in, so you don't even know where you're sitting. So if you're traveling with a family, you're going to have to book a higher level if you want any shot at sitting together. So you're gonna have to pay more money.
Ridiculous.
You'll be last in the boarding position called, and your flight vouchers are only good for 6 months if your plans change. So. Everyone except the most expensive Choice Extra also will be paying those glorious bag fees now.
No.
That Southwest. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're doing everything. So I tell you, man, I think Southwest is making some really bad moves here. Like just the optics on it are bad. And if I have a choice, which I do, I'm going to choose an airline. Now, I used to always choose Southwest when I could, but then they started getting more expensive, but then they had still things that were nice, and so I'm like the free bag, so I kept choosing them.
Mm-hmm.
But now you've taken out any incentive to choose you whatsoever, so now I'll choose somebody that gives me more for less, and an airline that I have status with and get bags for free or whatever. It's really sad because I think it's kind of not to be overly dramatic. It's an end.
But I will be.
But I will be. It's an end of a good era for them. Now they're joining the ranks of every other airline that basically hates their customers. The airline companies don't care about you at all. They just care about your money. They do not care about you. And I think that's the saddest part of this is you're going on trips and it's supposed to be fun. The least fun part of it, the worst part of it, is booking your airfare and booking your travel, but it's a necessary evil. So what do you do? And so there you go. Those are your changes though coming up for Southwest so you can make your own informed decisions. Fear and anxiety are things that people deal with on different levels for sure. Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM. And Jennifer Aniston, her from Friends, and she's a famous actress. She opened up about one of her biggest fears, which is flying. Extremely scared of flying, and she has to fly for work.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. She picked the wrong career to not like flying.
Yeah, and so to manage her anxiety, she had formulated a ritual of sorts. I guess for good luck kind of thing. And she would always take her right hand and tap the outside of the plane before she got on.
That's what old producer Zach used to do.
Yeah, that was his thing. He always did that.
I tried to stop him one time, like from tapping the plane just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And he literally like had to reach out and make it happen.
Yeah, and he did. And thank the Lord he did, because we landed safely. I hate to think what would have happened had he not tapped that plane. And so she said that I've been doing some hypnosis lately, which requires me to remove superstitions. So I have not been tapping my right hand on the plane, and shockingly, we're all good. So she's learning that those things don't actually matter in the grand scheme of things. But she's like trying to figure out how does she deal with the anxiety. So she puts in like a meditation thing to calm her during long flights. She takes time to get up and stretch. My wife hates to fly. And we always get a water bottle at the airport because we love overpaying for water. It's just a thing we do. And so she'll get the one where you have to pull this little tab on it. It's a tiny little plastic tab that's meant to be thrown away.
Yeah.
As you take the lid off. Her ritual is she holds that tab and rubs it between her finger and her thumb, and will do it for the entire takeoff, and then holds it and for the landing. Those are her two worst parts.
Wow.
Yeah, and one time she lost it.
Oh.
Yeah.
What'd she do?
I gave her my tab off of mine, and that was almost not good enough.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's how scared she is of flying. And so this is what I want to talk about with you. How do you manage your anxiety? Whatever it is, doesn't have to be flying, but it can be about something else. Do you have like coping mechanisms or things like that? Like, I think one good thing would be is like maybe you memorize Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and I will help you. I think that could be, like Jennifer Aniston uses meditation, and who knows, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But like focusing on the word of God could be a calming thing too.
As a Christian, yes, definitely. That's the first thing we should do. But I also will say that there are other methods that work for some and not for others. And so it is helpful to share these tips, because anxiety is at an all-time high. And so you sharing what helps you might help someone else in return.
All right, so 855-33-WAY-FM. We love having you on the show. We love your perspective. And actually, we need it, okay? Because we're not that smart. 855-33-WAY-FM. Would love to hear what you have to say about how you manage your anxiety. What is the thing that you're anxious about, and how do you manage it, Emily?
I just closed my own salon, but going in with a toddler all the time and taking clients, hair clients, nail clients, I always used to just like breathe in, and I would ask God to protect my heart, and then breathe out with his indescribable peace. And that's Philippians 4:6. And that just like breath really like helped, just to like breathe in and just know like the true active like living word of God. And I don't know, just like a peace would wash over me, and it would calm me down before I went in.
If you're at a hair and nail salon breathing in deeply, are you sure it's not the acetone? You're not so much at peace as you're about to pass out.
Emily, is this something that you created on your own, or is this something that someone told you to do?
So my girlfriend, actually, she was one of my clients, and I was kind of misguided like growing up through churches. And she had reintroduced me and welcomed me into her church. But she was the one who actually shared, because I was, sharing about how anxiety can get to you when you're working with a toddler. You
should also check out that old song we used to play a lot by Johnny Diaz, Breathe. That could be another good thing to throw into your repertoire there. Well, girl, I appreciate you being on with us today, Emily. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. God bless you guys.
How do you deal with your anxiety?
So about 4 years ago, I started having debilitating anxiety. I wasn't able to drive, and it was pretty bad. I couldn't work.
How did that just pop up for you out of nowhere? You weren't like an anxious person before?
I was, but I had a health scare. So I started having panic attacks, and then it just kind of catapulted into a really bad disorder. But so I tried all the things. And what I actually learned over time was that anything that you do to make the anxiety go away teaches your brain that this is dangerous. So every time you have to have this thing to get on an airplane, it tells your brain, hey, if you don't have this thing, this is dangerous for you to do. So the way to beat it is acceptance, essentially facing your fear. And that's how I've gotten from not being able to drive or work to, now being able to drive and work and all that.
Okay, so now when you say face your fear and acceptance, I think I know where you're going, or just stop me if I'm wrong. Do you, on a flight, you go, okay, good chance I could die on this flight today, and if I do, it's okay?
Our fears are always way more out of proportion than reality, right? So there's always a possibility for everything. And yes, essentially saying whatever life holds for me, I'm going to just let it happen to me.
Yeah, I get that actually, because my wife fears dying on a plane. And I don't. I'm like, all right, take your best shot. Let's see how this goes, I do, because I don't worry about it. I'm not looking for it. I don't want it.
But it does sound like your wife might be working herself up to the belief that it is going to happen, kind of like Amber's saying.
Yeah.
You're blowing it out of proportion. And her having her ways of dealing with her anxiety for flying could be telling her brain, actually, you do need to be fearful.
That's why I thought that movie Inside Out 2 was so good, because they had an anxiety character that I think did a really good job of explaining anxiety for people who don't deal with it, or for kids especially.
The next 3 days could determine the next 4 years of our lives. Fear protects her from the scary stuff she can see, and my job is to protect her from the scary stuff she can't see. I plan for the future. Anxiety, stop!
I'm sorry. I was just trying to protect her.
In healthy doses, that being cautious is a good thing. It's when it runs on you, like Amber's saying, it became a disorder, that's when, and they showed that in the movie, that's when it becomes unhealthy. Amber, we appreciate you being on the show with us today. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Have a great day.
Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show, and we are so thankful for the people that support this ministry time and time again. And you may not even realize this, but Your Way FM is propped up by people just like you that choose to give. Now, we have Support Drive coming up. We're not in it yet, and we thought it would be fun to go through and do our first challenge. That's where people put up tons of money to inspire other people to give to what they believe in. And we thought it would be fun, instead of just being one person, we'd kind of model what is happening here every day. As Way FM is, like I said, propped up by a bunch of people doing whatever they feel is their part. And how cool would it be to start off the event with the People's Challenge, something that is put together by people just like you, not one family, but you doing your best part, someone else doing their best part, and adding all of that together. And our goal is to have a $20,000 ginormous kickoff challenge for the very first bit of Support Drive. And here's the cool thing about this. This could be even more than $20,000. It could be $40,000. It could be $50,000. It could be $70,000. When people get inspired and you watch people blow something up like these GoFundMes, it's amazing what can happen when a lot of people catch a vision and do a little bit together.
Totally. And you can get involved right now when you text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 91979. When you text the word GIVE to 91979, we'll send you a link. When you click on that link, it'll take you straight to our website where you can give your best single gift. And who knows, you might want to pay it forward to your community-supported Way FM, but you've always felt like, well, I just don't have that much, and I don't know if it would really make that big of an impact. But that's what's so cool about the People's Challenge, is when we all come together, putting our best foot forward, giving our best single gift, it could make a huge difference when you text the word GIVE to 91979.
Now, if we were to do this challenge right now, Gavin, what would the challenge be?
Oh, we're at 4,000.
Right, okay, good. So if we were doing it right this minute, it would be a $4,000 challenge. But we actually kicked this thing off just a little bit ago, and we have a few more days. So this thing could be ginormous. If we're already at 4,000, this thing could easily be 20+ thousand to start off. So man, that's the goal. That's what we're pushing towards, and you can play a part in that right now.
Text the word GIVE to 91979 and we will send you that link. That's GIVE to 91979.
So, should we do hard news or news-ish?
We're all in this together. I think the best thing to do is take a breath, relax, and vote on it.
News-ish it is on The Wally Show.
What you got, Gavin?
I think one of the cutest things in the world is when kids say things incorrectly.
My daughter.
It's adorable when they're young. And it's sometimes even when they get older, you're like, oh, it's still kind of cute that you say that.
She said library forever, and I didn't want to change her. Like, I think it was college when she stopped. And it was no longer cute in college, but boy, it was cute up till then.
Haley said instead of Cracker Barrel, she says Crackle Barrel.
Oh,
and
that's adorable.
She legitimately still does it. So
Yeah.
she never grew out of that. But I found this list that someone put together of things that people will say on purpose incorrectly. And this is where I think you get into the category of you're just trying to be different, or this is annoying. You're an adult who can't say it. So they listed out people who say the Google instead of just Google.
I think that's a Southern thing too, because my parents do that. They add the in front of everything.
Yeah.
So they'll say, we're going to the Piggly Wiggly.
The Piggly Wiggly,
or
yeah.
We're going to the Kroger or the Sonic.
Yeah.
They add the to everything.
Another Southern thing is instead of saying, hey, can I ride with you up to such and such? They'll go, hey, can you carry me up to the Piggly Wiggly? Is another Southern thing. Yeah,
Huh.
you carry someone or like, okay.
Those are ones I haven't noticed. They also listed out, instead of saying Arkansas, and you come from Arkansas.
Yeah, say Arkansas.
Instead of McDonald's, you've got
McDonald's,
which
yeah.
I think I'll say every once in a while. But now I want to leave room for Wally's intentional incorrect words.
There's one that we say is choochies instead of cookies. We're going to go have choochies. Do you love choochies? I love choochies.
Listen, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with kids under the age of 6, saying choochies instead of cookies. But when you add 50 years to that, like
tough.
Wally
I know.
at 56,
It's become such a part of our family. Or instead of
keep it
spaghetti, we
there.
say scadetti. Is another one like.
But keep it there. It's a family thing.
Yeah.
Keep it there.
I don't know.
In
I
the
love
workplace.
choochies. I like sharing choochies.
We are family.
Yeah, thank you, Gavin. Gavin gets it.
I want to be adopted.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show, and this week on Monday School, we were talking about when Jesus appears to the disciples after the resurrection. He's on the boat. He's on the ground, and they're out in a boat, and they don't realize it's him. They are fishing. He says, "Hey, did you catch anything?" And they're like, "No, we did not." And he goes, "Why don't you put your nets on the other side of the boat?" And they bring in this massive haul. And like the point that our pastor had made was, they were doing what they knew to do. They were fishermen. They knew how to do this. And they were struggling, and they didn't have any success until they fished on the side that Jesus told him to fish on. And so the application in our life is, what is that empty net in your life? What is that thing that you're toiling after, that you were striving to make happen, but you kept coming up empty until you decided to follow the direction of Jesus?
I think a lot of us find ourselves in this situation, and I like how, because I've heard this story countless times, but I've never thought about it in this way, that we are constantly forcing God to make something happen that we think is what's best for us. But ultimately, if we work with him instead of against him, that's when we find the contentment, the joy that we've been ultimately looking for.
Absolutely. And it can be terrifying to pitch your net on the other side, because on your side you're going to seek safety, security, prosperity, all these other things, and God sometimes calls you to something that's counter to that or feels counter to that. But when we do follow him like the disciples, we have more success in some ways. And sometimes it is financial. Other ways it's not financial. It's better peace in your life, better, community, whatever it is. And so that's what I want to talk to right now with you. And we're curious, like, what is that thing that you chased after, you strived to make happen, and you were trying to force it? Because I'm a force it person. I'm like, if I see a roadblock, I'm going to go around it, over it, under it, somehow, some way to make it happen. And I don't always sit back and go, okay, God, what do you want me to do? And I should follow your direction. So what was that thing you were trying to make happen until you finally decided to follow Jesus's direction? And how did it work out? Because there might be somebody that is beating their head against a wall today, right now, and is frustrated. And like Betty said, had never thought of it this way before. And you might help provide some kind of inspiration or some perspective for them. So 855-33-WAY-FM is how you can be on the show. We love having you on. Your perspective is important. So 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take yours now. So what's your story, Jonathan?
I wanted to be a famous musician, and I did get that fulfillment back in 2009. I got signed with a big record label, and God really showed me, like, he gave me that opportunity to figure out, like, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And so until I made that decision, I was like, you know what, this is not my fulfillment in my life, and it didn't fulfill my purpose. And so now I'm a worship leader. I get so much fulfillment in just serving God and just worshiping Him with more worship team. And it's amazing how God kind of gives you what you ask for, but then you're like, oh, wait, I need to go on this side.
I spent a lot of years wanting to be a rock star as well, and it didn't pan out. I wasn't even fishing in a lake. With my talent, but God moved me over to what I was more capable of doing, and that's radio. And I've had a great career as a result of it. Well, I'm glad that you're still getting to do what you love and leading other people in worship. I think that's probably super fulfilling, more so than maybe even mansions, although mansions are nice, but yours are going to be in heaven where the real estate's a little bit better. What's that empty net in your life, that thing that you're trying to do on your own or you're chasing after, but you keep coming up empty until you decided to follow Jesus's direction?
It's parenting. As a mom trying to help my son navigate his life and his future. Like yesterday, my son and I had this conversation about forcing things and not following God's path. And finally in February, I gave up. I said, okay, God, because I'm a control freak. I'm a lot like you, Wally. I've heard you talk. And I finally just said, hey, Lord, I'm giving this to you.
Yeah, it's hard to let go of that, especially to let go of your kids and entrust them and their plans to God.
Oh, definitely. And it is really hard. We got into some really dark moments.
Now, this is all relatively new. Are you encouraged? Are you seeing some things start to shift once you've made that decision?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. So January, February, even mid-March was very painful, and we weren't sure what was going to happen. The last month has been a little peaceful, even in the chaos, right? There's still concern as parents, but there's been a peace behind it that wasn't there for 3 months. God has shut some doors for our son, and he's recognized it. And we had an amazing conversation last night where he said he finally, when he got the call yesterday that he got at work, he was finally like, okay, God, because he's been fighting it. He wants something to happen for him. He's not letting God work in him. And literally this happened yesterday, and we both cried. Literally there was a point where I thought there was no light at the end of this tunnel and there was no hope. And now I'm going to get emotional, but it was awesome. Yesterday was awesome, and I come today with just a fresh heart and energy that I hadn't had in a while.
Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show, and you may not be aware of this, but Support Drive starts Friday, so we're pre-Support Drive right now, and what we're trying to do is to give us a head start going in, to kick off Support Drive in grand fashion, and to do something that would be really cool, to have the people that listen to this ministry be the first ones to do a challenge together. A lot of people doing a little bit together to make our people's challenge, because a lot of times when you hear these big numbers of people doing $20,000 gifts, it's one family or one person doing that. And so we are community supported. We don't exist without a bunch of people listening to this thing. And so I just really think it would be awesome to see how big we could get this first challenge that we'll kick off Friday morning with, from people just like you that are listening and maybe have gotten something out of Way FM, like Jess's story.
I just got saved back in October, and I'm fixing to get married. I've never been God-oriented, and my kid, I heard her singing one of the songs in the back seat, and everything's going better in my life. And I believe that the station has definitely helped keep my kids on a right track. Maybe where I messed up in my life, maybe I can keep my kids on the right road by listening to the station.
I love that. It's Jess's story about wanting good for her kids, but also being new to faith and figuring it all out and having a source of constant encouragement. But then she chooses to realize that and go, well, I'm going to invest in this because it's good for me and my family too.
And it goes to show that the reason why you give doesn't have to be this big, impactful thing. She's giving because it speaks to her kids, and she wants to make sure it's a good influence for them as they listen. So maybe you're in a similar situation. Your kids could get a hold of so many negative things that the world has to offer them, but why not be a part of something that is giving positivity out into the world. And you can do that when you give your best single gift, whatever that looks like. It could be $100, $150, you name it, whatever that amount that God's put on your heart. When you text the word give to 91979, we will send you a link, and there you can give safely, quickly, and securely. That's texting the word give to 91979.
Your best single gift, whatever that looks like, combined with other people, could have a huge impact. And our goal is like $20,000 to kick off the event with. Gavin, if we were to stop everything and we were doing support drive right now, what would we be at?
We would be at 4,200.
Okay, 4,200. A great start. A great start, because we literally just kicked this off. Well, I'm encouraged by that, because I go, man, somebody hears that and goes, well, you're a little ways away from 20 is the goal. But if I get in right now and someone else gets in, all of a sudden, before you know it, we could be at 20. We could be past 20. That's the beautiful thing about this People's Challenge. It can be whatever you decide it's going to be, and we could have a huge Friday morning. So however you want to get involved, just know that A, we appreciate you, and B, we need you. A number.
Text the word give.
Yeah, a phone number is what you're going to do on Friday, but right now you're just going to text.
Give. GIVE to 91979. That's give to 91979. Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. This is The Rock Report with Betty Rock.
The Washington Nationals, that might sound like a conference to you if you're like me. I have no idea what that is. But if you didn't know, the Washington Nationals are the official baseball team for Washington State, Washington, D.C.
Yes,
Good job.
Washington State. All right, I was 75% of the way
I was a
there.
little iffy on that myself.
Anyway, they had a big night coming up. They were celebrating two things, and hindsight's 2020.
Wait a second. I think Gavin's wrong.
No,
it's D.C., isn't it?
It's D.C.
Yes, Gavin's wrong.
You didn't have to come back to me for that.
I was 100% right.
You were 100% right.
No.
Gavin, the sports guy, was wrong.
Wow, I thought you knew so much, Gavin, but
keep going.
Obviously nothing.
I doubt everything ever he says now.
So the Washington Nationals, they had their Pups in the Park night. This meant
fun.
that you could bring your puppy with you to the park and watch a game, which sounds like so much fun.
We did this at work the other day. We were out, and so Gavin was here. Did you bring one of your dogs to terrorize everyone?
No, because I come in so early.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring a dog, and neither of my dogs, in my head, had 4 hours of staying in a building while I worked.
Yeah.
Like they just didn't.
Gavin doesn't even want to be here.
No, I do. I love my job. It's so fun.
It's so fun.
It's a bad
I
break
love
for me.
my job. Anyways, Pups in the Park night. That's what was happening at the stadium. And somebody, I don't know who, their events coordinator, thought it would also be a good idea to celebrate with fireworks the same night.
That's great.
But here's the thing. They did think a little in advance. So they put on the Jumbotron. They said, hey, if you've got a pup in the park, we're giving you a 20-minute countdown because we're going to start our celebration of fireworks.
Yeah.
And so, of course, all the dog owners are like trying to rush to the car. Well, you don't factor in traffic. You don't you don't think about all
chaos.
of these things. Yes. And eventually, people started complaining, saying 20 minutes is not enough. And one woman says that she had gotten her dogs into her SUV. She's trying to make it out of the parking lot and get home before it all goes down. And one lady was crossing the street with her dog, and the fireworks start going off. He got out of his leash and started running. She almost hit the dog. Like,
wow.
It could have been so bad. All that to say, if you're in a similar situation where you have a dog that does not like fireworks, I looked it up. On Amazon, you can buy calming caps.
Okay.
Calming caps are $15. You can also buy earmuffs. You know, you've seen the ones that they put on little babies at concerts.
They have
make those
dog
for
ones?
dogs, and they're $35.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
I
but
know
seriously.
thunder jackets are another thing for storms they put on dogs.
I don't know, something to think about.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, whoever thought of like, hey, let's do pup night and fireworks.
Yeah,
that person's not a dog owner.
Oh, obviously
There's
a cat
no way.
owner for sure.
Yeah. You wouldn't see a cat owner doing like cat day and fire hose day. It's just not gonna happen. So there you go. But I like the ideas of the extra things you could do for your pup, Rock. Thanks for looking that up on Amazon. Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. Gavin, you will be very thankful for DJ Jane who emailed me. There was something that Gavin did years ago that Betty Rock has not let him forget or live down. Brings it up still 6 years later.
What?
You do too.
Very rarely. And usually I'm coming to your defense. The time that he stopped the drive-through difference. She's like, oh yeah, that, yeah.
That was pretty funny because I mean he was in line and he was told, oh, the person in front of you bought your meal, and instead of saying, oh great, I would like to do the same for the person behind me, Gavin just goes, oh thanks, and then drove off.
Well, he might be vindicated in a way because DJ Jane sent me this clip of Christian comedian Michael Jr. talking about being in this exact same scenario and what he did and why. So here, check this out.
I was at a Starbucks, right? And the car in front of me paid for my Starbucks coffee. So you know what I did? I did a little prayer. I ain't hear anything. Pulled off with some free Starbucks. 2 weeks later, I'm at the same Starbucks. Car in front of me pays my coffee. Dude in the drive-thru was like, you don't understand. You're the 23rd car in a row. I was like, wow, for real? Pulled off with some free Starbucks. I know some of you guys are thinking I'm being insensitive. I like to beg to differ. Is it possible that the only person who really gave was the person in the front? Is it also possible that everyone else just had a hard time receiving? And anytime you truly give, there's always a sacrifice. Obedience is better than sacrifice.
It's a very interesting thing because, yeah, you're right. The first person gives out of whatever compulsion that they have. And then a lot of times other people give out of guilt. Like, I don't want to stop this. I don't want to be that person. So you give out of guilt. And that's not the purest of heart. Or to his point, he's like saying, oh, I can't accept something that's a blessing to me. And so they then pay it backward, in essence. They pay for the car behind
Can you not
them.
accept a blessing, Gavin?
No, I can accept it.
He did.
I did accept a blessing.
He did accept a blessing,
and
yeah.
again,
Yours and everyone else's.
We are talking about like a young man who had moved to a new state for a new job.
Yeah.
And
the state welcomed him in with free coffee.
The problem is that there was another time I went to Starbucks, someone paid ahead of us.
Yeah.
And it was a situation where we got really mad at that person because they cut us off in that line.
Oh.
So that was a moment that we were like, okay,
yeah,
maybe my anger was wrong. I am going to do this. But in my first scenario, it was a blessing, and it was a good day.
You owned that blessing.
I sent a prayer up.
I will say this. Yeah, thank you, Lord. No one else is getting that chance. But no, I think that there is something to what he's saying, though, about having a hard time receiving a blessing. I know that's hard for me to do. I don't take compliments well. I don't receive blessings well.
Really? You're constantly fishing for them.
Oh, constantly, but then I don't want to hear them. So that's what I'm curious about. Have you ever had a time where you had trouble receiving a blessing? Because the thing about this is when somebody does something nice for you and you just gracefully accept it, it's good for them. And when you fight it or make a big deal out of it, it kind of cheapens their moment as well.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing you want to do. So maybe the kindest thing Gavin could have done that day for the person behind him was just drive on. Or, the person in front of him. So let's talk about this with you for a minute. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. Have you ever had trouble receiving a blessing from somebody, and kind of what was the situation around that, and maybe what did you learn from it? 855-33-WAY-FM is the number. We'll take yours now. What is that blessing that you had trouble receiving?
So many years ago, my husband was in the military. I had 2 little boys, and my husband was away for 6 months. My music minister showed up at my house with his lawnmower and said, I'm here to mow your yard.
Nice.
And I said, well, no, I do it all the time. It's no big deal. And I got this. Don't worry about it. And I felt like I'm capable. I do this 2 times a week. I'm okay. And he looks at me and he says, so you are going to rob me of my blessing?
There
and I was like, what? And he says, well, how do you feel when you go to do something for somebody and if they told you no? And I said, knock yourself out.
Yeah, and I'll see you next week, too. I want you here every month, and I want it cut at 3, please. Have you ever kind of been in that situation?
Yes. I just went to Publix one day for a random cake, me and the kids, like $25. Well, I had my purse on me, but then when I reached in, I realized I did not have my wallet. So at the time, they didn't have Public Pay. They don't accept Apple Pay. I have a check, but again, don't have my license, so they won't take it. So I was going to put it back. The lady behind me insisted on paying, and I'm like, well, no, I don't really need it, but she did pay for it. And so I'm like, oh, wait, I can give her the check. So I had my son try to give her the check, and she just wouldn't accept it.
Aww.
That's so sweet of her. And you're trying to do the right thing, too, because you're like, okay, I don't want to take advantage of anybody, and so you go over the top. You know, I find that we do this when you go out with people sometimes and, like, you want to pay the bill and everyone's arguing about the bill. And so then you go to the extreme and you go find the server, like you pretend like you're going to the bathroom and you pay the bill in advance like that, you know? That's just a tip next time, Betty, if you want to pay, you could do that.
I didn't hear you. I didn't hear anything.
Never crossed your mind. Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show with a support drive coming down on us on Friday. Time is of the essence here. We are trying to do something really cool to kick off support drive. And if you don't even know what support drive is, it's where we raise the funds necessary to continue doing this radio thing and all the other digital stuff and all the other things like free Bibles and the prayer wall and the things that we do ministry-wise here 24/7, 365. And it doesn't happen without people like you. There are no giant grants, endowments, things like that. It's people like you that listen to this ministry and go, I kind of like this. This is good. I like this around. I like to see this be there for me and my family. And so what we're trying to do is kick this off with a challenge, because inside of support drives, when a family puts up a big challenge, say $20,000, it inspires more people to give. And inside of that will double or sometimes even more than double that generosity. And so that's what we want to do, is kick off this event with a huge challenge. But this time, not just one family putting it up, just people like you all combining their resources together to see how big we can make the first challenge.
Yeah, exactly. And when you hear those stories of people's lives being changed for the better because of what they find here at Way FM, what Jesus is doing through Way FM, you can take ownership in that, knowing that you said yes to what God put on your heart. And I mean, that has to make your day start off with the right step. So if you text the word GIVE, GIVE, to 91979, we will send you a link. When you click on that link, just give your best single gift, whatever that looks like for you. That's texting the word GIVE to 91979, and we will send you the link.
And you're not in it alone. Like, this whole ministry is propped up by a group of people, and a very special group of people that make this part of their giving plan in their generosity. And so you don't have to go alone. That's a beautiful thing. There'll be other people that go with you. And so, man, the goal is $20,000, but how cool would it be to get to Friday and be at 30 or 40 or 50 or whatever? Dare to dream. But all I know is that we do need you if you love the ministry of Way FM and you want to be part of this People's Challenge. So again, like Betty said, text the word GIVE to 91979 and you could get in right now.
Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes, as well as connect with us on social media. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online for supporting what we do.